Hi. Hi, ladies. Welcome to day 2 of Lockdown Life's Loving Life, the Summit. Just take my bracelets off because they're jingling everywhere. I am here today to talk about your ideal clients and how you find them. And there's a lot I want to talk about, so we're going to just crack straight in. I hope you had a great session with Jodie this morning. If you're a business owner, this is where you need to be. So if you don't know about the summit yet, we are running 16 workshops over 4 days. We've already done 5 now. I think this is the 6th one. You can catch them all on replay as long as you've registered. So that's what we're doing today. So if you don't know me yet, I'm Roxy. I'm co-founder of Ladies Life Lounge. I'm 36 now in Sheffield. Happily married, 2 little boys. And I'm a mental health therapist. I run a couple of businesses. I'm a massive geek in my Wonder Woman t-shirt, obviously. Huge sports fans. Books and wine aren't my thing. So if you're there, come and say hi. I can see some are on already. And tell me a little bit about your businesses if you can, because one of the things I'd love to do today is to be able to answer some actual real life questions. So yeah, drop me some comments. I'm trying to make sure I can see in the group too, because we're streaming to YouTube and in Facebook, I think. There we go. Oh, hi, Stace. Morning. You all right, my love? All right, so first things first. Why bother worrying about an ideal client? Hi, Shell. You all right? So tell me a bit about your businesses, ladies, if you've got time. So why bother with an ideal client when your product is for everyone? And I get this a lot, especially thinking about services a lot of the time. My product or service could be for anyone. So, of course, your product or your service is for a huge range of people. But the first thing I want to say is you can sell your stuff to anyone you like. I personally, at the moment, I've got more male mental health therapy clients than female. But I don't market to men. It's really interesting. You can sell your product or service to anyone, but you cannot market to everyone. And this is where the ideal client idea comes into play. It's all about your marketing and who you are intentionally trying to attract. So, spray and pray marketing is one of my favorite terms. How much more powerful is an advert that makes you nod your head and makes you feel like that advert is talking directly to you? When that product or service that you're seeing being offered solves your exact problems and issues. I've talked about this plenty of times, but over lockdown, I saw one of the adverts on Facebook for what can only be described as a blackhead hoover. This awful contraption that literally is supposed to suck the crap out of your face. And it's the perfect solution for my problem that I got. I bought it. It's a pile of wank. It does not do a thing. But that's almost not the point, because that company thrives on selling lots of stuff cheap and not looking for repeat customers. So for them, they had absolutely done their job with that. Your business or service is probably not like that. So you don't want to be selling stuff that people will never buy from you again. But for them, that was the absolute thing. They nailed me as their ideal client. They hit my pain points and they spoke to me. So it was a great ad. The fact it doesn't work isn't a big deal for a company like that. So people use spray and pray marketing because sending out generic, untargeted content or advertising is quicker and easier than sending out quality, well-targeted pieces. A focused approach takes a load of time, a load of effort, lots of research, and sometimes some risk as well, but it's so worth focusing on who you want to attract for your business. So this all comes down to knowing your ideal clients and knowing your niche. When you start to widen your market, it's easy to lose your focus, your speciality, and your ability to compete with other businesses. As soon as you start opening your focus out, it gets much, much harder to compete. So the more focused you are in who you want to attract and the more targeted your marketing is, the more successful you can be in winning more clients and customers. So Shell, you are a wellness, sleep and meditation coach. So Shell is our resident sleep expert in the lounge, but I actually don't know that much about your business yet. So this has been really interesting for me. Hey, Donna, you all right, my darling? Thank you for joining me. So the idea, the whole thing about spray and pray is the idea that you spray your message out there and you pray that it sticks to some of the right people. You are doing it without any kind of consideration of who you're hitting. You are telling people about your stuff, and a lot of the time you are just plastering out buy me kind of messages, or worse, not even messages linked to what you are selling, that there's almost no consideration except the idea of I've got to post something and I've got to do it now. That's spray and pray marketing, and that's what we want to get well away from. Hands up if you dare, who knows that's how they have been or do approach marketing. Drop me a little emoji in there. Okay, so I don't buy into the ideal client format as we often know it. So many people, so many gurus, so many coaches online will talk about you have to narrow your audience down to Sandra, who's 46 from Cheshire, who drives a white Range Rover, who goes on 3 holidays a year, who doesn't work anymore but used to work before she had the children. And they make you narrow it in to this one very specific person, and you lose sight of actually what you are doing it for, and you grow to fucking hate poor Sandra from Cheshire because you can't find her, because you've created this myth that doesn't necessarily exist. I don't see the benefit in trying to niche that far down, but I do know my clients really, really well. And what you get to do is kind of shine a light into their world and show them, look, here I am. This is how I can help you. And so much, as we'll talk about in a bit, so much of it goes back to how can you help them? So Cheryl says, occasionally, yes, sprays and praise. Donna is inconsistent. Yes, Donna does some great marketing. So Donna sells geek clothing and it's fab stuff. But yeah, it's inconsistent and that's totally fine. So if we're not talking about the single person avatar, what we are talking about is the commonalities, the stuff that they all share that you know you want your ideal clients to have. And there's kind of 4 things that we'll work through to get the commonalities that your ideal client has. So the very, very first thing is, what are the absolute must-haves? So this all depends on the type of business you use. So this is stuff that naturally narrows your list. So if you are selling mortgages, they must be 18 years or over. They must be looking to have a home, or they must own a home already. If you're a dog business, your ideal client must have a dog. That doesn't mean you can't sell to people who don't have a dog, but they are not your ideal client. They may buy a gift at some point, but they are not your ideal client. They're someone you could sell to. So the must-haves are the stuff that naturally narrows your list, but they are essential for them to come and work with you. Does that make sense? Okay, and then the second one is that generally looked for, the things that you would really like them to have. So it's not required, but it might be preferred. So perhaps it's a specific age range. Perhaps if you made clothing, it's specific size range. And it's okay to be able to choose that. So if you were doing plus size clothing, it is okay for you to decide, I am specifically looking for people that fit my clothes. There is no point you're looking for somebody that doesn't, and that's okay in a business. Perhaps it's a geographic location. So if you have a cafe, your generally look for attitudes are most certainly people who live locally, because that's what you do. Or they might need to have a special interest or a hobby. So if you are an author and you sell books, these people are your ideal clients, must like the genre that you're writing in. That is your looked for attribute. It's not necessarily a must have, because that's not what stops them working with you, but it's definitely a generally looked for. Okay, does that make sense? And then we go into what makes them ideal. So the must-haves and the looked for are the things that means, yes, I would like to work with them because of these things, but what is it that makes them absolutely ideal for you? So perhaps they've got a certain business model that you as a coach work with, or they have a unique problem that you can specifically solve. So perhaps it's, say you do something like dog training and they must have a dog, they must be in your local area, but then what makes them ideal is they have a dog that barks all night. Whatever it is, that is what makes them absolutely perfect for you. So you can help all the other dogs, but this is really your speciality. This is what makes you be able to do more than anybody else around you. There might be a certain point in their life. So if you're something like a menopause expert, these women they are ideal when they are at a certain point in their life. That means you can specifically help them. And then following that, it's this leads more onto where do I find them. So it's what behavior do they show, do they exhibit that helps you identify them. So for someone like Donna who makes geek clothing, they go to Comic Cons, they're active in the geek forum kind of places. What behavior do they exhibit? Do they belong to industry associations? Do they go to specific charity events? Do they read certain things? What behavior do they exhibit that helps you identify them? So if you are interested in kind of spirituality stuff, you know where these people will hang out. They will be in other woo-woo, as I love to call it. I'm very woo-woo. They will be hanging about in Facebook groups that are directly aimed at spiritual people, or they'll be at spiritual fairs. Can't even talk. So this is the behavior that they exhibit that allows you to find them. Okay. So when we're looking at this, there are a ton of questions you can be asking about this, such as, I had to write these down, obviously. So what are their common issues? What are they struggling with the most? What brings them joy? What are they worried about? What challenges do they have? What do they hope to gain from you? What goals are they striving to attain? What experiences thrill them? What are they reading? Where are they reading their blogs? Where are they getting their information? What platforms are they on? Who do they trust the most in their area at this point? And all this stuff starts building you a common framework of all the stuff that you know your perfect clients share. All the stuff that you can see a mile off, they would be absolutely bang on for my business. But it's not narrowing them down to this single person avatar, because my version of who I am spiritually, let's go with, when I'm being a bit woo-woo, is very much dipping my toe in the water compared with other people who really follow what we should be doing at certain times of the month, etc. But we might still be both the ideal clients for any kind of spiritual stuff. And it's learning how to be able to step back and kind of helicopter view this picture of my ideal client has all of these things, providing they have the must-haves that are generally looked for. Everything else makes them even better, but they could still be part of my circle. So Donna says she's always struggled with this. What bit of it, Don? Which bit have you struggled with? Have you actually written this down and really, really looked at who your ideal client is? Are you going out and speaking to the people that have bought from you before to get to know them a little bit, to figure out what it is that they actually like? See if you can post me a bit more, and let's start looking at this for you. And another part while we're talking about these commonalities is that you can have different clients for your different markets. So you can kind of have, depending where you are, like a beginner's, a medium, and an advanced market. So think of a great example. So something like, so let's go back to Donna, I guess, as you're hanging out with me. So her geek clothing, so her beginner's line might be things like scrunchies or pin badges, or something that people who like geek stuff but don't want to demonstrate their love for it might be buying, like stickers, stuff that they would keep in their own kind of zone, so they don't have to be overtly showing it to the world. And then the next step might be like they bump up and they'll buy a skirt or something that's a bit more obvious. After that, it can be flipping full-blown Comic-Con costumes. They are very, very different clients. I just spoke quite earlier, that whole, I don't know why I'm banging on about spirituality, but this idea that I'm like interested in the moon right now. but I'm very much in that beginner bit, so I'm a bit interested. I like it. I'll buy a couple of crystals. I want to know more, but that is not the same as doing full moon rituals and burning stuff. They're very different markets. They could still both be your ideal client. What it means is the marketing messages you are putting out to these people at different stages need to be different because they will land differently to different people. And let's reflect that all of everything I'm talking about now is how you deal with your marketing. So it is when you are putting something out there, are you targeting it at that person that is ideal for your business? So you might need 3 different kinds of people. We kind of have 3 different ideal clients for the Life Lounge. So, and our content will reflect that depending on which one. So this workshop, for example, is specifically aimed at females who are business owners. That is my ideal client for this. And we have loads of stuff for you in the lounge. But if you're in a corporate job, you're probably not sat here watching this. We have other stuff for you, but our marketing message is very, very different, and that is okay. So, Dawn, I know they all like geek stuff. They have fandoms of the genres, but knowing other than Comic Con and Geek Forum, I've like no idea who they are. All right. My customers seem to range in 18 to 35 with kids and loving stuff from their childhood. Okay, so you've already started narrowing down to kind of 18 to 35-year-olds. Are we talking women because you are female clothing? So talking about retro stuff if it's from their childhood, being able to post about who remembers this. Yeah, I'll talk a bit more about this later. But you're probably narrowing them down more than you think. It is just whether you are actually marketing at the stuff you know about them. Okay, so that leads us on to this idea of match your message to your ideal client is a must when it comes to marketing. Hang on, let me just deal with this comment. No. So probably not in this. Well, so yes, if we're talking about the 35-year-olds are looking for nostalgic stuff, yes, then it is a different market. If we're talking about current stuff, so like all the Marvel stuff that's on Disney Plus right now, you've got a perfectly made audience for that. Like that is a huge audience, but you are specifically wanting to appeal to the women of that audience. So then you need to get into where else they're hanging out. Yeah, I will pick this up with you because there's lots I could kind of say about this. So if we're talking nostalgia, yes, then the 18 to 35 are totally different audiences because the 18-year-olds won't have a clue about some of the stuff. So yeah, it definitely can be. So you've got to match your message to that ideal client. A message that connects is one that clearly talks about what your ideal client wants more than anything else in the world, which is to solve their problems. So I'll come back to you, Donna. If you are solving their problems, and it is that whole idea, they want something unique that is geeky, that shows the world who they are, but they don't want to be buying it from Primark because that's the stuff that everybody else in the world has. You've got to be talking about how you only have 2 of these limited edition skirts, and why they want it. So you've got to come full circle, which is my next slide, around to what is their problem that you can fix for them, which is what we are all doing when we are selling something. And problem often feels like a bit too heavy a word for this because it's not a problem if I want to find the clothes that I like, but that is, in terms of when we're talking about marketing, it's what's the problem and how can you fix it. Hi, somebody. Hi, Pip. Your name's not come up. Yes, you can watch it on catch up. You can watch it again later on in the group here, or we'll be sending out an email with all the replays on later. So nobody wants what you sell. This is a real big thing. Is all people want is the answer to their problems. So yes, Donna, of course you've overthought it. Start here making a list of the problems you solve for the client. Exactly like I just said, it's not like they have an actual problem, but their problem might be, I can't find geek clothing in my size that's a bit original. Or for Pip, I don't even know if you still got one, but I can't find a holiday let that's in a nice quiet place that just doesn't have Wi-Fi and I can completely disconnect. And you target the people who want to go somewhere that want to completely disconnect. So you look at the problem is that they always feel like they're on, they feel like they can't get away from it, their phone's always dinging, they almost are addicted in that they want to switch their phone off, but they kind of can't help themselves. So it's looking at what the problems are that you solve for the clients you help the most. So, and often with this is talk to your clients that you've got. If you're having trouble thinking about what their problem is, ask them why they bought from you, ask them what they were looking for when they found your product or service, what they were searching for, and what made them choose you, and start looking at it from, I want to know what they want to know, because that is everything. So let's think of who we've got in our group. So I've got Sally in our group. So so I just want to come back to this. Sell the outcome that answers their problem. What you are not trying to do is show them how you can do it. So what I mean by this is, say somebody goes to Sally and she's got foot pain. Say a client, blabbering on now. Say a client goes to Sally who has foot pain, and Sally knows almost immediately that it is something in their back that is causing their leg pain, their foot pain. Sally knows this because that is her job. She knows why this is like this. What she doesn't want to be going to do is tell that client, right, okay, so if you come in now, work on your back, that will fix everything. Because the client doesn't give a shit how you're going to do it. If Sally's there like, I'm going to work on your third vertebrae and this will release this and blah, the client doesn't care. The client does not want to know. All that has to come out in this marketing and in this selling is, oh yeah, I can fix that. You've got foot pain, I can fix it. They don't want to know that fixing your third vertebrae will fix this. So in your marketing, make sure you are talking about people with foot pain rather than people with a problem in their back. And this sounds like this doesn't happen, but it does. I see loads of marketing almost telling clients more than they need to know, because all the client wants is the solution to their problem. They do not care about how you get there. So we've got Moo in our group who sells holidays. So if someone comes to you looking for, like, they want to come on their honeymoon and they give you their criteria, you need to be talking to them about selling their most dreamlike honeymoon without spending hours of looking. You need to talk about the romance and the quietness and the serenity of the place, and not about how much money you can save them, because they've come to you for their specific reasons. They want to go somewhere romantic and they don't want to spend time looking. There's no point telling them how much money they can save, because that wasn't their problem in the first place. Does this make sense? Because it does in my head, and it's really important that it does to you. So, like, we have a couple of mortgage advisors in our group. So if first-time buyer's there, tell them how quick and easy and affordable you will make it for them to buy their house. Don't tell them about APRs and interest rates and stuff they haven't asked about and they don't care about at this point when you are marketing. Okay, so legally at some point you have to talk about this, but when you're marketing, they don't care about that. That is not what we're talking about. Marianne, yes, but it's not even always about being geeky. It's about, you know your stuff so well that you'll start using short codes and acronyms and stuff that your ideal client don't give a shit about. All your ideal client wants to know is, can you help me with my fertility? Yes, I can. That's that. And your marketing reflects that. Are you having problems with this? Does your back hurt in this? You talk about their specific stuff, not what you can do. You can just tell them, yes, I can fix that, providing you can. Don't lie. Never good. Yes, I'm glad it makes sense, Donna. Limited edition products for you are a massive answer. I've actually got this in my notes from last time we talked about it. So you sell the outcome that answers their problems, not the process, not how you got to fix it. You sell the outcome that answers their problems. Okay. So, I'm not on this slide yet. Let's go back if I know how to go back. I'm still on here. I've got loads to say, apparently. So when we're talking about your clients don't know how to solve their problems, but they usually know what their problems are. So if you can get really good at demonstrating that what you sell is the answer to their problems, they don't care what you call it. So break down every solution that you sell and every benefit that you attribute to what you do and map it back to almost a handful of trigger type phrases. And these phrases can be questions or statements, even kind of anecdotes, but they must come from the point of view of a client. So what I mean by this is saying, do you wish you could find limited edition geek clothing in your size that is high quality, not fast fashion, and doesn't cost a fortune? It might be a very long trigger phrase, but basically your ideal client will be saying, fuck yes, that's exactly what I am looking for. Start coming back to what is it your client wants, and asking it as a question, a statement, even whacking statements out like, do you know, well, you do this, Donna, do you know about fast fashion and how bad it is for the environment? All my skirts are da-di-da-di-da, come and look. And the one thing that I know some of you don't do is add that call to action at the bottom, is you don't kind of put the, yes, I do this, I do all these things, and then you don't tell them where to go. And people are lazy and want instant gratification. I bought so much crap from a Facebook ad that told me what I wanted and how to get it. And I am very much an impulse shopper. If I see something that answers a problem, even though I'm smart enough to know it's too good to be true, I still always think that I'm going to get the right thing at some point. Something will work to solve my problems. So I would absolutely buy something that made me nod. So Pips, oh, you've sold the holiday home, have you? Promo for creative workshops and parties, etc. Okay, so you have a really, really clear ideal client in my head. Actually, if you've got time, Pip, tell me who you think your ideal clients are at this point. Yes, you don't do it consistently, Donna. And the other part, which now I'm going totally off piste, is this idea that loads of people don't see our stuff. We might feel like we're repeating things over and over and over again, but 5%-ish right now of our Facebook posts are being seen, which is proven by how many are on our lives at the minute. Facebook reach is absolutely crippling us, and people watch on replays and things, but Facebook is killing us all as businesses. It's the idea that you think you're putting the same message out, but not everyone's seeing it. I so rarely see some of our members' posts, and I have to specifically go looking for them, especially people who I know are doing marketing right now, and I just haven't seen them. So don't be too afraid to repeat your message. It can be in kind of a different way, a bit of a twist on it, but you can keep saying the same thing, because when it hits your ideal client, they will just become yours immediately. So that. And another part of this is like of how to market to them. Right. It's called website headlines. So, and what I mean by this is write a big bold statement that might be the first thing that anyone who visits your website or your social media will see. And then ask yourself, would this statement get your ideal client's attention more than something that says, welcome to my shop, here I have all this stuff? Really think about that website headline, which is exactly what I've just said about. Ask them a flipping question, or tell them, here's the home of what am I doing? Creative workshops. Welcome to, or unleash your creativity alongside your child. Do you want to do more stuff with your child, but you both get bored easily? Have a look at this. Really, really look at what is your headline that people are seeing that you could like generate over and over again. And if you need help with this new message, pick out a handful of your ideal clients, people you know are your perfect clients, and go and ask them, really ask them, what problem am I solving for you? What is it that makes you come to me? And test your headlines with them. Like, really, we're all people and we all like to feel important and valued. Your ideal clients that are coming to you already, they kind of want to be in your inner circle. Pull them into your inner circle. Ask them the questions that you want so you can reach more people. That is a completely okay thing to do if they're happy to help you. And the fact that they're your ideal client means they will be happy to help you. Some of our members that are hanging out will help us go and share our things, and they support us fully because we like each other. And so much more of this is about create relationships than it is to just cold spray and pray marketing and hoping it sticks to people. You will want to make relationships with your ideal client. You will like them as people. And that's totally okay when we're talking about small businesses. It's really, really important. So I think I've done that one. Katie, if I have to do your self-talk one more time, this is something you're learning. And just tell me which specific bit that applied to, Katie, because it's way behind on comments. If your business gets reviews, study them carefully. Look at the words and phrases that people are using about you and see if you can pull out that idea of what you are helping them with. Okay, so finding the people. I'm not going to cover this loads, and this is what you all obviously want to know. I talk about it a lot more in the members club. Hang on. Ideally, we want them to find you. And that can be a tricky thing. We certainly want them to self-select. And self-selecting is the idea of nodding when you're saying something. Self-selecting is the idea of that speaks directly to me, so I will choose to go and buy this, almost without you having to sell to them in any way. So ideally, we want them to find you, but to do that, you've got to get visible. So identify their social media channels, not the ones you like. If you like Insta because you can hide away and you don't have to show pictures of yourself because you can show your products or whatever, but your ideal client's not on there, you are not going to be finding them. This is really, really, really important. We use the social media platforms we like. And a lot of the time, our ideal clients are like us. So a lot of the time, this can work out. But a lot of the time it doesn't. So when I talked about Ladies Life Lounge has different kinds of ideal clients. One of our ideal client is career women, climbing the corporate ladder, smashing the glass ceilings. They can be on all our platforms, but a lot of them are on LinkedIn, and we don't use LinkedIn as well as we could because neither of us love using it. But we know our clients there, so we hang out there when we can, when we choose to. We know that we can be missing out on things, and you can't do everything all the time, but know who your client is and know what their social media platforms. If you missed my talk yesterday, you need to go back and watch it because I talk about masturbating, and Katie's terrified of getting told off for masturbating. So she checked her text just then to make sure she hadn't done it, but she didn't check her self-talk. Rinse and repeat is okay bit, which won't be any surprise to you. You can rinse and repeat, but you've got to twist it up a little bit, and there's no point rinsing and repeating if you're spraying and praying at the same time. You rinse and repeat marketing messages that are actually working. That's really, really important. So go through your social channels. Can people see what you do immediately? And this is what I'm talking about with the website headlines and the trigger phrases and stuff like that. Can people see immediately what you do? That's not necessarily the same as what you sell or what you have to offer them. Can they see what you do? So my challenge for lots of you is to go back and check if you're a little about, if somewhere on your header you have got some sort of trigger phrase that makes your ideal client know immediately this is the place for them. Okay, really, really important. So is it professional and engaging? Are you selling or showing how you can fix their pain points? They are very, very different things. You can do both, but showing how you can solve their problems, showing why it's no brainer for them to come and work with you is absolutely everything. Okay, super important. So if you enjoyed that and if you want to know more, I teach loads of business stuff in the lounge. I'm just creating a new business course that's about to land in there as soon as we finish this summit. So if you don't know about Ladies Life Lounge, Rhodes and I run it, and our members, our inner circle members, of which there are a few on today, have access to loads of our stuff. So inside the lounge, there's a ton of online video content downloadables under our 7 secrets. So if you haven't heard us talk about them yet, the idea of the lounge came about because we wanted to create almost a one-stop shop for women. So somewhere where they could go and get health and fitness advice, where they could talk about money and sex and confidence and assertiveness and all of the stuff. We've got a style expert. We've got experts that cover all of the areas that aren't Joe's and I's speciality. So by joining as a member, you get access to our library of modules, and there are hundreds of them under our 7 secrets. You get 2 live monthly masterclasses with industry experts, and we've got over 50 in the back catalogue now. We've been running this for a while. Our women are the best community of women I've ever come across. It's the thing I'm most proud of in the lounge, is these women have each other's backs for everything. So yeah, we've got expert coaches. They can answer all your questions. You just tag them by being in there, and they are there for you. We have group coaching calls, we've got book club, we've got social events, and they are coming back live. We've just announced our summer social in Birmingham, so if you want to come and hang out with us, that is the way to do it. Loads of perks and discounts, and Jodie and I live in there basically. So all this week, as part of the summit until Monday night, you can come and join us. It is normally £49 a month, and we don't have the doors open all the time. But just until Monday night, you can join us for 29 quid a month and keep that forever. This is one of those things where you get to decide if you're going to take a chance on seeing what you can learn. You're not tied in. You can leave after a month. You can sign up and cancel immediately if you so choose. But this idea of taking this time post-lockdown to start investing in yourself and seeing what kind of life you want to create afterwards, and having all the support in the world to do it, it's just the best feeling. I remember joining my first membership group years ago, and it changes how you view everything, and it's really super cool. So if you join through this specific link here, bit.ly/, and these have to be in capitals, I like this, LL2LL, so Lockdown Life to Loving Life 2021, you can get a great goodie bag. It's got a pretty confident journaling that works through all our pretty confident sections. It's got Clinique stuff, bracelets. I think you get a discount on a t-shirt in the shop because we have our own range of merch. It's super cool, but for less than £1 a day to take a chance on, for me, it is a super simple thing. So we would love to see you on the inside. Has anyone got any questions I haven't answered on the way? Thanks, Donna. It's the proudest thing. Probably more proud of this than of like birthing my children, but just don't tell them. But they won't see this because they're tiny. So yeah, any questions? But even if you have any questions or you're watching this on replay, whack it in the comments for me. Possibly tag me, because as I said, we don't see half the stuff anymore. It's driving me crazy. And I will pop back in and answer anything that you've got. Feel free to DM me directly if you want to. So you're very, very welcome, Shell. I hope it's been helpful. So have a lovely, lovely day. We have our resident style expert in this afternoon. I think she's on at 2. She's talking about growing your style confidence out of lockdown, which is a proper immense topic because I live in slogan t-shirts and jogging bobs at home. I'd never leave the house in them, but I live in them at home. You're very welcome, Donna. Go and do your work. It all comes down to whether you do your work or not. And then this evening at 7, we have our resident skincare expert, Louisa Ashworth, who has her own line of skincare. She's proper ace. And she's doing a really interesting one about the impact of stress on your skin and how aromatherapy can help. I've got hiccups now. How aromatherapy can help. Her stuff's ace. I go to a spa all the time. So I'm done. Thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, any questions, just tag me in the comments, and have a great last day. Thank you for joining me. Bye.